Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to LiveStream under the Moonshine. Tonight, it's episode number 291, and what should be the final chapter of One Small Fire at a Time, a visual novel that I've been really enjoying. And if we remember back in part 6, guys, it was an episode that took lots of twists and turns. We never knew what to expect. But we did see that Aiden Wolf, the commander, had went back to report to the king what he interpreted from Johann Poe, the magical scientist, that he didn't, he had got it, basically kind of gave in and said, hey, the potions that the Eclipse of the Madhouse is creating themselves could be harmful to the children there. And he kind of went with that, reported it to the king, and the king, basically, we found out the king had ordered him to go and exterminate Oriel and Colton Sherwood, the owners of the Eclipse. But not only them, we found out that he was ordered to kill everybody there that had been giving any of the kids mana potions. So that means Ina, who is Janice's, kind of one of Janice's role models, or somebody she looks up to, maybe even a friend. And when Drake, a once bully who is kind of getting a little bit closer to Janice here, a little bit older than Janice, I think Drake's 15 or 16, Janice is 13. But when Drake found out that, you know, the cops came and had ordered all the adults and the owners of the Eclipse and stuff like that outside, and they were holding all the kids inside so that they could exterminate them. And the kids were starting to ask questions. Drake came up and started asking questions about, you know, what are you doing with them? Are you arresting them? What's going on? And one of the officers had said, yes, we're arresting them, and they're bad for you, and we're going to have to put you guys in other madhouses. And all the kids started going nuts. No, you know, we don't want to go to other madhouses. We don't want to be split up. And Drake and all the other kids had stormed outside with a lot of the Dragoon officers and police officers chasing them. And all we know is that we are in store for the extermination of the owners of the Eclipse and everybody that worked to serve the children, any mana potions at all, because it's a king's order. So it was really getting good, guys. Really getting good. I'm looking forward to this final part. I'm glad you're here. I hope you enjoy this final part of One Small Fire at a Time. I don't know how long it's going to last. Might be a little under an hour, might be a little over an hour. But whatever it is, we're in for the ride until the very end tonight. So thanks for being here. I know we got Addie here tonight, so I'm looking forward to that. She has been eagerly awaiting this final part since she listened to the last part 6 early this morning. So let's go ahead and get on with the show, guys. Here we go. Addie says, Waves wasn't going to miss it tonight. Yeah, she's been sleeping usually. She's been asleep when I've been reading it late at night. So anyway, chapter 14, here we go, guys. And look, guys, it shows Colton. That must be Ina right there. Or no, this is his wife. This is Colton. This is his wife, and Ina is right here. And then we have all the other nurses and stuff like that on their knees, their hands tied behind their back. I didn't notice this picture last night, but this is actually pretty good art. And then we have all the Dragoon and everything like that getting ready to exterminate. This is Aiden Wolf right here, taking out the king's orders to exterminate them. Damn. Yeah, Addie says that's what grabbed me. Alright, let's get to it. The looks on the faces in front of Aiden Wolf were that of sheer terror. Is this everyone? He asked his subordinate, without taking his eyes off the 24 or so convicts awaiting their execution. But we haven't seen the kids coming out, but we know there's kids running outside as well. Yes, Commander, confirmed the Dragoon beside him. Here's Colton. I can't believe it, the Syndicate's ringleader spoke up, but his voice was subdued. You had to bring a full squad of Dragoons just for a middle-aged couple? It's not just you two, Aiden reported. You're right, but only the staff that work in the adult ward even know about the mana potions at all. Let the others go, please. Is that so? Aiden knew Sherwood was lying. Damn. We're not stupid, Mr. Sherwood. He must have been. We knew the madhouse was just a front. Your real business is selling artificial mana potions. You aim to flood the market with your cheaper potions, even though you knew they were harmful. The King's advisors were convinced that Sherwood was involved in something bigger. Everyone here is a member of your syndicate, aren't they? And the King relied on Aiden to put a stop to this criminal organization before it grew too big, before the dangerous potions spread throughout the kingdom and destroyed the citizens' minds. No, Colton Sherwood shouted. You're wrong! We know you're kind. The King's decision to mobilize the Dragoon was justifiable. Criminal organizations like yours are always prepared for confrontations with the police. His advisors had speculated that some of Sherwood's employees, no underlings, must be powerful mages who are well versed in combat. But we're ready to fight you, Sherwood. And that was why the King had entrusted this mission to Aiden himself. This was his duty. Damn, Ina's coming in. Fight you? One of the underlings blurted out. I think that's Ina. We're just here to help the inmates, that's all. We wouldn't even dream of... Silence, the commander's voice blared. All the convicts were so shocked that no one dared make a sound. Damn. There must have been a misunderstanding, Commander, the ringleader's wife murmured. I only make potions for the Eclipse's own use, and she said that. She even said that to Poe. I started making them because Colton didn't want to take magic away from the children. Aiden snorted at such an obvious lie. Why don't you buy mana potions like everybody else? Too expensive. Yeah, because they're expensive. Mana potions are taxed heavily by the government. If we bought mana potions legally, we wouldn't have enough money to run the madhouse here. Running a madhouse is already costly enough as it is. Even public madhouses don't get adequate funding from the government because nobody cares about lunatics. That's why many madhouses don't provide potions to the inmates. Those who do either have to charge really expensive admission fees, or they're sorely understaffed and have inadequate facilities. Maybe Oriel's potions do cause psychosis, Sherwood said. But did you know, Commander, that without potions, the inmate's madness can get even worse. Those who are depressive get more depressed, and those who are anxious feel vulnerable without any magic. Those who are psychotic hallucinate without casting spells. It often happens in other madhouses. Some alienists think that lunatics shouldn't use magic at all, so they don't give inmates mana potions. Instead of helping them, they deny them their magic, which only makes their lunacy even worse. This was the first time Aiden had ever heard of it. Had the King's advisors considered that at all? Then why did you try to sell the potions to Lord Godwin? Well, that's because, Sherwood hesitated for a moment, but then said, we need money. We need a lot of money. For what? For a big project we have. Aiden then remembered Professor Poe's report. The mega project to build a Madtown, is that it? Yes. Aiden glanced at the building structure in the yard. You're lying. No, I don't think he is. I can see that you started work on the project. We did start, but we stopped because we ran out of money. Or rather, we lost our funding source. What do you mean? We had an investor who agreed to fund the project, but then he changed his mind about a year into development. He stopped giving us money, so we had to halt the construction. We could have tried suing him for breach of contract, but, well, we didn't want to fight a lord. Why did he change his mind? Sherwood sighed. Because I couldn't cure his daughter's madness. Damn. I don't think he's lying. In other words, Sherwood had gotten a parent of one of the inmates to invest in his mega project, but the investor called the deal off because his daughter hadn't recovered from her madness after a year. What happened to the daughter then? Was she moved to another madhouse? Or had she perhaps went the same way as Candela? Commander, please forgive us, Oriel Sherwood's shaky voice interrupted his thoughts. I can improve the potions. I'm already making some progress from observing the inmates who develop psychosis. I'm sure I can. No, you know what? Forget it. I'll stop making them altogether. I promise I'll stop making them. Now is she lying? That's the one thing that might be a lie here now. I don't know, we'll see. I don't know, I don't think she wants to die. Colton Sherwood's explanation was quite convincing. Maybe they really were just making potions for the inmates. If it was true that the inmates' conditions could deteriorate without magic, giving them potions, even artificial ones, would certainly be the right thing to do. Trying to sell the potions to Geoff Godwin was wrong, but Aiden could sympathize with their intentions. But Aiden couldn't let himself be confused by these criminals. He had a mission, and that mission didn't include listening to whatever excuses these criminals came up with to avoid paying for their crimes now. The king had already made his judgment. All Aiden had to do was deliver it. Deliver their death. Holy cow. Prepare them for execution, he declared to the other dragoons. Oh, damn. What? Yelped the female underling. What do you mean by execution? Aiden ignored her. There's no point talking to a criminal. Commander, are you seriously going to kill all of us? What? We'll start with Colton Sherwood. Oriel Sherwood. Aiden started giving out instructions. And this woman. OMG. I feel like Aiden knows better. I feel like Aiden's a good guy. Look at the conversation he had with young Janice. And now he's so intent on following the king's orders and being his subordinate and listening to him that he's failing to listen to his heart. He's failing to listen to common reasoning. He even said that Colton had given him a very good explanation as to why they were manufacturing the mana potions and even why they set up a cell for Lord Godwin, making the magical mechanical factory. So he's not listening to his heart. He's not even listening to his own reason. He's basically being a bitch right now. He's being the king's bitch and not caring what his heart says and demanding execution of these three and everybody else behind him. I guess I kind of thought better of Aiden. I thought he was above this, to be honest with you. The dragoons had the three convicts kneel a few paces in front of the commander and two other dragoons. Damn, what's gonna happen? Behind them, the other convicts watched in horror, some weeping quietly, but none of them dared to utter a single word. So if you can imagine this, we already saw that Ina was terrified and can't believe that they're going to be killed. But behind these three, you have all the other nurses and workers at the eclipse, some of them sobbing quietly, trying to keep from making too much noise because by all means they don't want to come up here and be next and be put up here as a fourth person to be killed first. But you can imagine they would be scared to frickin' death. They're about to be executed and have their heads chopped off or just, whatever it is that they're going to do. That would be terrifying. I think a lot of us have seen The Walking Dead And this kind of reminds me of that scene where Negan, where they first met Negan, and Negan was lining them all up on their knees like that. And Negan was doing that thing with Lucille, the bat. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and going at each one. And they were all just petrified, just scared to death. Some of them in tears as he, pointed the bat at them and knowing that someone was going to die. This was kind of giving me the flashback back to The Walking Dead in that scene. I think a lot of people remember that scene where, Glenn was the one that took that barbed bat. And Negan, you think of how evil Negan is and was in that show. I just had a lot different picture in my mind of Aiden Wolf here. I definitely wasn't imagining Negan, but he's doing it for the king. Gary. Mr. Sherwood, Aiden said, I would ask you if you had any last words, but I think you've given more than enough time to speak your mind. And it wouldn't matter what else he said at this point anyway. Aiden aimed his hand at the ground under Colton Sherwood's knees. So we're not going to have like a sword or a gun, of course, what else in Overture but magic to exterminate or kill these people. So he's aiming his hand at Colton Sherwood's knees. The convict closed his eyes, but if he hoped it would calm him down, his face proved that wasn't working. Suddenly, Aiden heard a shout. Oh, it's going to be the kids. It's going to be, Whoa, stop it! This is going to be... Oh, no, this is... Okay. I thought it was going to be that kid. I thought it was going to be that boy. No, this is, Lord Godwin. Oh, remember how furious Lord Godwin was back there at the house when Aiden didn't show up there, and the officer showed up at the house and said that he wasn't coming home tonight, and he said, Lord Godwin asked the officer, he's like, where's he going? Why is he not coming home? And he said he's going to the eclipse, and basically the officer had explained to him that he's going to exterminate not only all the nurses, but Oriel and Colton Sherwood. Wolf, are you insane? Joff Godwin wasn't his usual calm. Remember, he was pissed. Wolf, are you insane? Joff Godwin wasn't his usual calm, composed self, who never let his emotions show. He fumed like he was an enraged beast. You can't just kill everyone. Most of them know nothing about the mana potions. What the hell are you doing, bruh? Aiden was sick of hearing this argument. They're guilty. Therefore, we will execute them. Here comes Professor Poe. Joff's right, Wolf. Johann Poe ran up behind the Lord, gasping for air as soon as he stopped. Well, my orders are to execute them. What do you intend to do about it? Fight me? Damn. If I have to, yes, the Lord bellowed. You can't win, my lord. With a battle cry, Joff lurched forward. The two dragoons beside Aiden tried to intercept the young lord, but the commander stopped them. Oh boy, we're gonna have a fight. That's Lord Godwin. Nobody is to harm him. As soon as Joff got close enough, he cast a magic spell. A cloud of rocks appeared in the air and rained down on the trio of dragoons, but they avoided them as if they were nothing. Joff got ready to follow up with another attack, but just as he pulled his arm back, the dragoon commander sprang right in front of him and pressed a hand to the Lord's chest. Chill out! Before he could so much as blink, Joff was encased in a block of ice. Exactly. Chill out, Joff. Not wanting to harm the young lord, Aiden released the spell almost immediately. The ice melted. Joff fell to the ground. Aiden signaled the dragoon, who had been standing guard a little further down the line, to come help the lord and restrain him. Satisfied, Aiden turned to the professor. You're not that stupid, are you? Johann's only answer came as a glare, so Aiden then said, "Good." Aiden was just about to begin the execution when another shout interrupted him again. "Don't arrest Mr. and Miss Sherwood!" It was followed by more shouting. Yep, so it's the kids. Yep. You can't arrest them! It was the boy who escaped the madhouse recently, Drake. Aiden remembered his name. Well, he has a better memory than I can because I've been reading this whole visual novel and I can't ever remember his name. Yes, but Drake is his name. So Drake, you can't arrest him! The boy's body shook and his face looked like it was on the verge of tears. But he forced himself to yell. "Mr. and Miss Sherwood are really good to us." There! He stopped abruptly when he spotted the three people on their knees. Oh boy. What? What are you going to do to them? Are you going to kill them? Oh boy. That prompted even more yelling. The children cried, "Don't kill Mr. and Miss Sherwood! Don't kill Miss Polidori! They're good people!" Aiden couldn't make out what else they were saying, but he understood what they were pleading for him to spare the criminals' lives. As if Aiden could do that. Like he doesn't have a choice in the matter, he thinks. Can't you hear the children? Professor said. If those people were really as evil as you claim, would the children try to defend them? The potions may be dangerous, yes. But, well, let's say they are dangerous. But is execution really necessary here? Is it not enough to just lock them in prison? No, Aiden responded. It's not enough. The king's orders were absolute. These are criminals who have no regard for human lives. If their illegal potions reached the market, they would put everybody in danger. Yes, the king had said as much. It wasn't enough to just stop the syndicate. They had to make examples of these people to deter future criminals from trying to do the same thing. By executing them, the government would send a strong message to the world that artificial mana potions that put people's lives in danger would never be tolerated. Let it be known that there were no mercy for people who tried to exploit others' lives to make themselves a profit. You said it yourself, Professor. You're certain that these potions are dangerous. We can't let this happen, now or in the future. Locking them in prison would only temporarily solve the problem. Only by killing them can we save our young people. Young, innocent Obitarians or a few criminals' lives. It's not hard to see which is more important here. Yeah, but are you really going to execute all these people in front of the children? That isn't healthy either. Apparently, Johann Poe had nothing more to say because he just looked away, gritting his teeth. Joff Godwin kept trying to break free from his restraints, but he was helpless. The children continued to protest, but that was all they could do. Aiden told some dragoons to keep the children away. He cast a spell. Wall. A huge wall of rock sprang up from the earth, separating the children from the rest. Aiden didn't want them to witness the execution. Their shouting got even louder in response, but that didn't bother him. He only had his duty in mind now. Well, here we are again. You're first, Mr. Sherwood. Aiden directed his attention to the aliens, who had started quietly shedding tears. Oh, man. So all this protesting, even Lord Godwin and Johann Poe, which we know Aiden respects very much, coming in and saying stop, hasn't thwarted him from trying to do the king's missions. The children crying and pleading with him that they're good people didn't thwart him trying to execute everybody here. Instead, he hides the children's eyes from what's about to happen with the wall. And now he turns back to Sherwood, and if you can imagine this grown man sitting on his knees, sniffling and crying, and tears dripping from his eyes, fearful of his own life. Man, that's dramatic. The commander raised his hand in front of Colton Sherwood. This man was a criminal, Aiden told himself. He knowingly put the lives of children in danger, Aiden reminded himself. It's almost like Aiden is trying to convince himself. Does it not seem like Aiden's just trying to talk himself into doing what the king has ordered him to do? It's like he keeps trying to have to reconvince him, yes, this is what I gotta do, yes, this is what I gotta do. This is why he's endangering kids, even though, you know, inside his heart, he knows better. Addie agrees, Smithy, yes, I think so. He deserves to die. Yes, he keeps telling himself he's gotta die, he's gotta die, he's gotta die. Oh, no. Sherwood let out a sudden scream, but it only lasted for a moment. Oof. Right through his chest. That was quicker than I expected. Look at the rock coming up from behind him, right through his back and right through the front of his chest. It was over just like that. Could you imagine his wife? His wife is going to be crying her eyes out. These people back here are going to be gasping. Poor Ina here is going to be, her heart rate was probably already fast as hell before, but now it's going to be pumping even harder. Tears are going to be coming out even faster. And his wife, for sure. Wow. Wow. I don't know what to think, guys. I didn't expect this. I don't know why. However, it was replaced by the screams from the two women beside him and some people behind him. Yep, they're going to be petrified, angry. They're going to be everything. Wow. Addie says he doesn't want to, but he has to do the duty. Yep, he has ordered him to. Blood spurted from the hole in Sherwood's chest, and more trickled down the massive spike of rock, impaling his back, slowly like raindrops on a window, until it reached the ground and stained the earth red. Damn. No, 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 the wife cried. Aiden saw the horrified faces of the other convicts. They already knew they were going to be executed, but now they knew just how real this was. Yeah, nothing would get more real than when you have your significant other, the person you've loved your whole life, been married to your whole life, be executed in such a bloody, gruesome, just reality, just like that. You hear his last gasp, his last scream. You dare peek over and see the crimson blood. Whew. This is tough. This is tough to read. The realization that they were truly going to die must have dawned on them now. Oreo Sherwood quieted down to fitful sobs. Just do it, he ordered. Oh my god. The dragoon standing in front of her glanced at his commander. The commander nodded. The dragoon didn't need to be told twice. He raised his hand. He watched the woman shut her teary eyes. He didn't know this woman at all. He only knew that she was a criminal and that it was his job to kill her. And that was all he needed to know. Oh my god. The woman didn't even scream. Her body jerked when the sharp rock shot out of her chest, and then it went limp. Her wide-open eyes held no life. Jesus. More screams and cries pierced the night, including those from behind the wall of the Commander Wolf summoned earlier. You know those poor kids behind the wall, they could feel it. They could feel this. This is heartbreaking. It really is. I think it's going to be more heartbreaking when Ina, if this happens to Ina, this might make me shed a tear, guys, because we knew Ina a lot better than these two. Oh my god. Alright guys, I'm gonna take like a year-long break. I'm gonna come back and read the rest of this, part 7, maybe 2024 or something like that, so that I can keep myself from tearing up. Yeah, we're done. We're done. I'm just kidding. Hattie says I'll hurt you. Oh boy. Two convicts, husband and wife, have now been executed. Only the underlings were left. The dragoons had expected some fights. They had been warned that some of these criminals might be powerful mages. But that wasn't the case. All of them seemed to have accepted their fate. But he's fighting back. Perhaps they understood that they didn't stand a chance against the dragoons. Or perhaps they're not powerful mages after all. What if they're innocent? What if they're fucking innocent, huh? The next dragoon got ready for his turn. He saw Commander Wolf nod at him. Oh my god. So Commander Wolf's not even doing this. The Commander Wolf doesn't even have the balls to take their lives. Commander Wolf doesn't even have the balls to do this himself. He's having these other guys fucking cast magic spells at him. That's how I feel right now. Not Ina. No. No, why do we gotta see such a pretty picture of her? The dragoon met the young woman's silent but pleading eyes. So she's not shutting her eyes like it shows in this image. She's not shutting her eyes like Oriel had done. She's pleading. She's meeting the dragoon's eyes and pleading for mercy. What she asked for, he didn't know. Whatever it was, he couldn't grant it. It was his job to kill her. He felt bad for the young woman, but orders were orders. No, I don't want to read anymore. He's gonna steal them and heal them. I don't think so. No, stop! A man yelled. Stop! This is gonna be Lord Godwin again, ain't it? I think this is gonna be Lord Godwin. Yep, it was a young lord who tried to fight the commander, still struggling to free himself from his captor, and still nowhere close to success. Please, the woman stammered. At least don't harm the children. Promise me you won't do anything to them. That is so sad because I seriously believe that Ina was working there, and I do believe Ina had a huge heart, and she deeply cared about the children of the eclipse. And now she's like, okay, kill me, but just don't hurt the children. Man, this is heartbreaking. A tear ran down her cheek. The dragoon didn't reply. He wasn't supposed to. He was only supposed to kill this young woman. And that was what he would do. Oh no! Don't do it! So he raised his hand. And what's Lord Godwin gonna do here, guys? What's Lord Godwin gonna do? He's restrained. He can't even lift his hand to help or stop it. I don't want to read anymore, guys. I really don't. That sucks. Oh! Out of nowhere, a little girl appeared. Janice! Motherfucking Janice! Look at that. Look at that ferocity. What's the word? She's fucking got those fierce eyes and, yeah, ferocious. That's the word I'm looking for. She comes in all ferocious and angry and like, what the fuck are you gonna do to Ina? Because, like, Ina's probably her next best friend. She talks about how she didn't have any friends there, but if there is one friend that Janice has, it's gotta be Ina. But what the hell is Janice gonna do? Janice can't even cast magic, guys. She can't even cast magic, but remember how she fucked up those boys, including Drake. Hey, I finally remembered his name. She fucked up Drake, but yeah, this fucking dragoon is not Drake. He's not a 15-year-old boy. Oh my. What the fuck is she gonna do? Stop! Startled, the dragoon blinked. The little girl was gone. Oh boy, suddenly his vision was a blur. Oh my god, Janice. Reflexively, he shut his eyes again. He winds up on his back? When he opened them, he was greeted by the bright, full moon. What the fuck, Janice? She's 13. And then the earth Whoa! OMG. What happened? The other Dragoon barked in shock as he watched his teammate spinning in the air and slamming into the hard ground beneath. OMFG. He quickly turned to face the young woman his teammate should have killed, only to find that not only was the woman still alive, but the little girl was now standing directly in front of her, almost protecting her. Wow, what a fucking hero! Janice? The young woman seemed to be just as surprised. Who the hell was this girl? Was she an inmate? Why was she here? What did she just do to that Dragoon? The girl said, Don't worry, Ina. Remember? I promised I'd beat up anyone who tried to kill you. She did promise her that early in the visual novel. He said nobody's gonna hurt you, and I'll beat up anybody who tries. Holy shit. I don't know if she's gonna have... I don't know how the hell she's gonna pull this off with all the Dragoons there. This wasn't the time to hesitate. The Dragoon decided. He didn't know who the hell this girl was, or why she was here, or what she had done to the Dragoon who was now sprawled on the ground. But he could detect aggression from both the girl's facial features and her body language, and unmistakably hostile behavior that Dragoons were trained to defend against. Well, yeah. The Dragoon pulled his right hand back and gathered mana there. He allowed the mana to boil before settling his hand ablaze. No, don't, he heard someone speak in a pained voice that curiously sounded like Commander Wolf's. But it was too late to stop now. He attacked, but the little girl swiftly leapt to his side, and... she does the same fucking thing to him that she did to those boys? Holy shit, Janice! What the fuck? Woo! Holy cow, girl! How the hell you taking out a guy that weighs probably 4 times as much as you, has powerful magic spells, sets his fucking spell ablaze, his hands on fire, he's fixing to fuck you the hell up, and again, just like you did with those boys, you dodge out of the way and pull off a fucking... using his own momentum and weight against him and put him flat on the turf. This is insane. Hellfire. I guess all those boys picking on her was a blessing in disguise, right? Because all those boys and shit like that picking on her prepared her for this moment. Guys, we are here with the last chapter. Chapter 15, Hellfire. Dragoon says, What the hell happened? Another Dragoon barks in shock after I throw his friend into the air and onto the ground hard. He turns to face Ina, and I quickly position myself between them, ready to face this next Dragoon. And Ina says, Janice? Don't worry, Ina. Remember, I promised I'd beat up anyone who tried to kill you. And here we go again. Another Dragoon getting ready to cast a fireball at her or whatever. The Dragoon seems surprised, but I guess he decided that I'm a threat. He pulls his right hand back and allows it to burst into flame. So this is a repeat of what just happened, guys, because she already repeated to Ina that she's not going to let her die, that she's going to protect him and beat up anyone who tries to kill her. So this is a repeat. And then Wolf, says, No, don't! The Dragoon attacks. So now we're going to see it frame by frame of exactly what she does. But I slid out of the way and I moved behind the Dragoon. I used my right hand to deflect his spellcasting hand and the other to reach for the nape of his neck. Wow. Once we're in this position, I'm supposed to push down on his neck. But since my opponent's a grown man who is much stronger than me, I decided to get a little creative with this takedown. I grip his neck from behind, but before I push down, I dig into the pressure points lining his neck, causing him to reflexively jolt in pain. And then I push down. This, plus his low off-balance position, allows me to easily control the Dragoon's movement and swing him around. Now we're facing in opposite directions. As his body rises, I rotate with him, lining my arm at his neck perpendicular to his body. At this point, one might be tempted to use his arm to slam the opponent down with as much force as possible. But for this, that probably won't work. Again, I'm a small teenage girl, and my opponent is a full-grown dragoon. Fortunately, there's a better way here. As one gets up, a certain amount of momentum is created. Taking advantage of this, I push the man forward, disrupting his balance, while raising my arm underneath the dragoon's chin. In one smooth motion, my arm makes an arch in the air, which forces the dragoon's chin up and backward in a circular motion. In turn, this forces the dragoon's head to follow the motion. Wow, we got a raid from Miss Baby Doll. We're going to go ahead and continue. I just can't believe that Janice, of all people, comes in and stops these dragoons from taking out Ina. Now, sadly, they've already killed the owners of this madhouse, who I believe, honestly, were innocent. I believe they were doing what they believed was the right thing to do. Sadly, they lost their lives to magic. But Janice comes in here and flips this dragoon on his face for daring to try to kill Ina, a very young lady here who was working at the madhouse. But since his head can only travel backwards so far before snapping his neck, his body instinctively follows. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Boy, that's very truthful, right? Boom. And the dragoon says, "Ah!" The dragoon crashes to the ground, instantly knocking him unconscious. There are techniques one can use to safely break a fall, but I guess they don't teach those in magic schools. Their loss. But now's not the time to rejoice. This battle isn't over. Seeing two of their teammates defeated sends the rest of the dragoons into a panic. They all scramble to surround me and prepare to attack. This isn't going to be easy, but I'm not going to back down now. I will protect Candela's wish. A dragoon charges at me from my left, and another from my right. They cast their spells at the same time. Both a water spell and a fire spell. Being attacked from both sides means there's only one thing I can do. Go forward. I sprint ahead towards a third dragoon. Behind me comes the intermixed sound of gushing water and blazing fire, and I don't look back. The dragoon in front of me gets his spell ready. I just keep running. He aims his hand straight ahead, and then... Stop it! Commander moves with astonishing speed and seemingly out of nowhere emerges between me and the dragoon. Hi, stop. Stop it. So we already know that Wolf and Janice had a pretty emotional conversation, if you would, earlier. And he had already told Janice that if his daughter was still alive today, she would be Janice's age 13. And, you know, he kind of had that heart-to-heart talk with her and said, you know, basically, if my daughter couldn't use magic, I would still love her anyway. So we already know that Janice has kind of grabbed at Commander Wolf's heartstrings. As big and bad and tough as he is, that happened earlier, and I honestly think that's why Commander Wolf is coming in here now and stopping all this chaos, because he doesn't want to see poor little Janice hurt. I like that. But it just goes to show you, you know, a man can be tough as fucking nails. A man can be ready to fucking take blood, and he did. A man can be ready to fight to the death. He can be ready to convince himself to murder another man, even though he might know in his heart the other man is innocent. Following the king's orders is what he's doing here, and why he ordered the death and the execution of both the owners of the madhouse. Even though he probably knew in his heart of hearts that they were innocent. I think he's smart enough to realize that. But then when he orders the execution of a young adult with Ina. He orders the Dragoon to take her out with the same spell, a rock through the back. Janice comes in to protect her because Janice had made that promise to Ina in the madhouse that she would never let anybody kill her and she would beat anybody up who did. That was actually adorable when she said that, but now we're seeing it come to life. But now, before Janice gets herself killed, let's be honest, Janice isn't going to be able to take on all these commanders herself. And Aiden Wolf comes in. He doesn't want anything to happen to poor little Janice, and he comes in at the right time. His heartstrings pulled for that little girl, who probably reminds her, him of his own daughter. Commander glares at the Dragoons while gritting his teeth and panting. His hand is grasping at his chest. Did sprinting here really tire him out that much? Oh boy. Oh boy, he ordered them to stop. But this is what scares me, guys. His hand is now grasping at his chest. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good. He finally takes a couple of deep breaths and scowls at me. Janice, what do you think you're doing? Go back inside. I'm here to protect Candela's wish. I don't know what you're saying. Candela wanted everyone here to stay friends forever. That means I can't let you close this madhouse down. I look back at Ina and then at the two dead bodies beside her. My stomach churns. Or kill anyone else. I'm sorry, Candela. The kids lumber toward the corpses, their horrified faces soaked with tears. Even Job and Poe seem to be in utter shock. I stare back at the commander. Why, Commander? Why did you kill Mr. and Miss Sherwood? They're bad people. They put you and all the other children in great danger with their mana potions. I don't understand his answer at all, and I have a feeling I never will. So I don't ask him to explain. Are you going to kill the others too? Yes. Would you change your mind if I asked you to spare their lives? No. The king's decision is final. I don't understand the answer either. I didn't ask about the damn king. I asked if he would spare their lives. What the hell does the king have to do with this? She just doesn't understand, does she? Bless her heart. Then I guess there's only one way to stop you. Oh, what? Come on, Janice. No, what the hell? Really? Come on. Come on now. You're not gonna fucking fight Commander Wolf. You don't even have magic. You can't even cast magic yourself. At this point, this is getting a little ridiculous. Come on. I assume my fighting stance. Okay. Like, I know, like, watching a Rocky movie or whatever is, it's entertainment and all this. I mean, I admire and love the crap out of her can you imagine this frail little 13-year-old girl? This is even more crazy than like David versus Goliath in the Bible, guys. This is seriously like 10 times more crazy than David versus Goliath. Here's this frail little 13-year-old girl in a world of magic who can't even cast any magic spells herself. Well, granted, she has experience, and we saw what she did to the two Dragoons, but now she's up against Commander Wolf, who is a very experienced, very powerful mage of one thing, but much stronger than her physically as well. He thinks he's gonna just laugh at her. Yeah, probably so. I assume my fighting stance. He probably will laugh. What are you doing? The only thing I can do, Commander. You want to fight me? I don't want to. I have to. And I will. That's crazy. You don't stand. Why does everyone keep saying that? I am crazy, remember? I wouldn't be here at this madhouse if I wasn't. He just pauses. Very well. Well, Addie, he didn't laugh. He doesn't look like he's smiling. If you can beat me, I'll let them all go. What? Yeah, because he doesn't believe there's a chance in hell. How the hell is she going to beat him? We saw what she did to the other two dragoons. I just can't. I mean, I know this is a fictitious novel. I know it's a visual novel that somebody wrote. But come on. There's no way. But if you lose, you must go back inside with the other kids. You understand? Okay. Commander addresses all the dragoons with a loud voice. No one is allowed to interfere. This is a fight between me and Janice here. Is that clear? Yes, sir. And with that, the dragoons move away and make the arena where we will fight. OMG. All we gotta say here, guys, is what a brave little 13-year-old girl, huh? Taking on probably the biggest, baddest guy she could possibly face. Not only a physical fight, but he has ungodly power, ungodly magical power. Wow. So the commander and I stand some distance apart. We watch each other's stance. Commander doesn't move. His balance is perfect. A fearsome foe indeed. Can I actually defeat the Dragoon Commander? One opening. That's all I need. As long as I'm careful, I'll win. Whenever you're ready, Janice. I can't hesitate. I sprint forward, but the commander still doesn't even flinch. I speed up, trying to reach him as quickly as possible. But apparently I'm not fast enough. He casts a wall. A wall of rock sprouts right up in front of me, and I slam right into it. Poof. Ah! I bounce off the wall and fall to the ground. That's actually pretty fucking funny. He's just standing there waiting for her to sprint at him, and then right as she's sprinting, he casts this wall up right in front of her, probably knowing damn well she's gonna bounce right in, head first right into the wall and fall down clumsily. At this point, this is almost like mocking her, right? Damn, that hurt. The wall dissolves into sand and scatters to the ground. I guess Commander just released his magic. Give up, Janice. Never. She charges again. I dash forward again. Even though I was just injured, I did manage to get close enough to him. Uh-oh, he's casting a spell. Remember, she has no magic. This time, I'm blown away by a gust of wind. Huh. Ah! So now he uses a gust of wind to blow her back. Wow. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She would have no chance against this guy. I managed to rotate my body to better break my fall. But damn, it still hurts. It's only more frustrating when I realize that the wind has just thrown me back to where I started. But I get up and rubber tush. But when I look at the commander, he looks as though he's taken a hit. He looks as if he's in pain. What hit him? Oh boy. But that expression only lasts for a moment. Don't you realize that you can't win this, Janice? No. He charges again. Another wind spell. But the same thing happens. Aha! He's not gonna hurt her. He's not gonna hurt this young girl. Even so, I get back up. Don't you see? Your technique is useless in real combat, girl. It's useful against unsuspecting magicians. But if your opponent is aware of your technique, you're easy to defeat. He charges again. You haven't beat me yet. There we go again, same thing. I haven't even gotten halfway to him before his wind blows me away yet again. Bam. Ow! My body is hurting, but I force myself to get back up. I can imagine her getting back up every time, more and more wobbly, every time she has to pick herself up off the ground. Boy, she is one determined girl. Ugh. The curious thing is that the commander still looks hurt. He clasps his head with his hands. His face is contorted as if he's in pain. What's going on with him? Just give up, Janice. He forces his expression back to normal, but I can tell that he's enduring whatever pain it is. I'll tell you your technique's greatest weakness. You can only use it if you can touch your opponent. As long as I keep you at a distance, there's no way you can beat me. No, there is a way. I need to hold out against his wind. The key to my victory is that mysterious pain Commander gets whenever he casts a spell. I don't know why it's happening, but my guess is that he has to limit his power to mitigate his pain. In other words, the wind can't be very strong. I leap forward and break into another sprint. Haven't you learned your lesson yet? I close in. A little more. Just a little closer. Now! He casts a spell again, and as expected, the wind comes. I've studied the gestures the commander makes whenever he casts a spell. He does a good job keeping his movements to a minimum, but he can't completely hide them from me. Before the wind reaches me, I stop sprinting and bring my stance low, planting my feet firmly on the ground. In this stance, I'm perfectly balanced. I reflexively close my eyes to shield them from the wind. The gale assaults my body, but as expected, it's nowhere close to knocking me over now. Yeah, because the wind is kind of weaker, and she's firmly planted down low. And after a while, the wind is gone. And now it's my turn to move again. I can do this. I'm nearly there. I keep watching the commander's hands as I run. If I'm close to him right as he's going to cast a spell, I'm gonna win. Almost there. 15 feet. 10 feet. 5 feet. Commander pulls his hand back and stands still. I come to a sudden halt and bounce back with a few quick strides. Commander doesn't cast a spell. He doesn't even move. Why? What's wrong? You were finally close enough. Why didn't you use one of your techniques on me? He knows. He knows my other weakness. Your moves are mostly defensive, aren't they? They work by making use of your opponent's own power and redirecting its energy. But that means that if I don't move, you'll have to rely on your own strength, everything your 13-year-old body has to offer. I suppose you could also go on the offensive by feinting an attack and forcing your opponent to move. But you wouldn't fall for that. Give up, Janice. You can't win this. As I said, your technique only works on unsuspecting magicians. The commander is right. There is no way I can win this. Let's stop here. You've done well for someone with no magic. But let's stop playing around. I can't counter his attack if he doesn't attack, and in that case, wait. He can't not attack. He has to attack me. It's your loss. As you promised, go back inside and... So your solution is to never attack me, Commander? Is that it? Commander furrows his brow, but he must know the fundamental problem with this strategy, which is why he really wants me to give up and declare my loss as soon as possible. We never set a time limit for this match, did we? If you don't want to attack, that's perfectly fine with me. We can just stand here until the morning. And no one will have to die. Wow, she's pretty convincing. That's right, my objective isn't to win, but simply to save Ina and everyone else here tonight. Commander did a good job figuring out the flaws in my technique. but he should have known the philosophy of the art itself. Avoid confrontation. Period. I like that. To win without fighting, in itself, is a victory. He's a pretty smart kid. I see. Then you leave me with no choice. So he casts a spell. Ah! A jet of water bursts out of Commander's hand. I sidestep it and then break into a dash. Commander used that last spell as a chance to leap back and put some distance between us. But it doesn't matter. I already know how to get close to him. Commander's face is twisted in pain again. He aims his trembling hand at me. This just makes him even easier to predict his moves. Here it comes. He knew it was coming. A wall shoots up in front of me, but this time I manage at stopping in time. I run around the wall and then charge at the commander again. He presses a hand to his head, his breathing growing more and more erratic. And then he casts another spell. Another wind spell. But this gust is just a little stronger than the previous one, and this time it manages to send me flying backward, even though I prepared myself just like before. And she gets knocked back again. But I ignore the pain, quickly scramble back to my feet, and sprint forward again. If anything, the last spell seems to have left Commander in an even worse state than myself. His body is now shaking, and he is sweating profusely. I'm almost there. 15 feet? 10 feet? This time, Commander gets ready to attack. His hand gleams. 5 feet. Commander aims his hand at me, but... Arrgh! With a pained scream, he drops to one knee. His trembling hand is still aimed in my direction, but nothing comes out of his hand. This is my chance. I move sideways, grab his wrist, and spin him around. He was already in a pretty awful stance to begin with, though I should be able to do this. No, Ashley, don't. Oh, look what he just called her. Look what he just called her there, guys. Ashley, the name of his young daughter who was 4 years old when she died. He does see her as his own daughter. No, Ashley, don't. Not Janice, but he calls her his own daughter's name. Wow, he's hurting in more ways than one, I think. What did he say? No, think later. I have to finish this. Focus. I twist Commander's wrist and aim his hand at his own face. Arrgh! He casts his own spell at him. Without warning, he casts a powerful spell. A blazing tornado swallows both of us up. This wind is much stronger than anything Commander cast during our fight, and the swirling fire makes it only worse. We swirl around and round, roasting for what feels like an eternity, until the ferocious wind hurls us high up into the air. Silly me, Commander didn't limit his power because that mysterious pain. He must have been holding back because he didn't want to hurt me. Yeah, I can agree with that. And I know why. I now remember what he just said before he cast the spell. Oof. Ah! I land on my side. Pain shoots through my body, but at least it has extinguished the flames. I try to get up, but I can't. Pant. Commander Aiden Wolf is panting. The tornado threw Commander just as hard, but he managed to get up. I guess that's the difference between a little girl and a dragoon commander. He was right. I never had a chance of winning this. Janice, I'm sorry. Commander still seems to be disoriented. That spell, it wasn't supposed to be that strong. It wasn't even supposed to be a fire tornado. Why did I fail to control my power? It was just like... Eventually, he spots me lying on the ground. Janice! He comes running. Janice, are you okay? My whole body is in pain. My singed skin stings, but I manage to force myself to sit up. I'm so sorry. Can you stand? Here, I'll help you up. That's really cool. Commander offers his hand to me. Take my hand. Uh-huh. Janice, take my hand. I'll help you up. Take your hand? Okay. I try to take his hand, but I can't. My own hand won't even move. Janice? Was my arm injured? No. What is this feeling? I stare at Commander's hand. It's a hand. Just a normal hand. But it looks so beautiful. Janice. Tears spill out of my eyes without any warning. Janice, what's wrong? I can't help but cry. Remember the other night when she was trying so hard to cry and she couldn't? Now it comes out. The tears just keep flowing out of me. The way Commander extends his hand looks familiar. That's right. It looks a bit like when I reached out to my ceiling at night. Except it isn't directed at a ceiling. It's directed at me. Nobody has ever offered their hand to me before. My whole life. This is the first time. And Commander Wolf is the one who did it. We may be in the middle of a fight, but I know that he's someone I can trust. Someone who cares for me. Someone who told me that it didn't matter whether or not I could use magic at all. Someone who accepts me for who I am. Even throughout this fight, he tried his best not to hurt me. Whenever he was about to hurt me, he felt the pain himself. Yep, that explains why he was hurting. Because it was like hurting his own daughter. He even called me Ashley. I know it was by mistake, but that means he sees his own daughter in me. It's funny, but through this battle, we came to understand each other. And now Commander is offering his hand to me. I am suddenly overwhelmed by so many emotions at once. I'll probably never know what true happiness feels like, but this could be pretty damn close. I feel like I have suddenly been given the strength to take on the world, no matter what it throws at me. It's as if I have been given permission to hold on to hope. I feel like I can finally look forward to tomorrow. No more wanting to cry, laying in bed at night, looking at the ceiling, wanting to go to sleep and to never wake up. He now has a reason to live, guys. Like I no longer have to fear anything. Because I have been given courage. Wow. He finally lifts her hand. I take his hand. I stare in horror as our hands suddenly catch on fire. The fire spreads, devouring Commander Wolf's entire body. He gave her courage, guys. With what happened there, she's never cast a spell in her life. He gives her courage in that moment, and because she's never cast a spell before, it all comes through her hand right now and engulfs the commander in flames. Holy cow! Whoosh! Oh! His deafening scream fills the night. It's just a simple fire magic, but I have never seen anyone cast a hellfire like this. Fire magic? How? Did Commander? No. It was me. I don't know how, but it was me. It was the courage he just gave you. Courage is fire magic, if I remember right. Oh no, I have to make the fire vanish, but it refuses to go away. I try to make the flames disappear, but they just keep blazing. What do I do? How can I cancel my magic? There has to be a way. Commander was able to dissolve the wall he summoned with a flick of his wrist. I should be able to do the same thing with this fire, right? I try again. Commander's body continues to burn. I look around at the dragoons, and they all simply watch in horror, but none of them try to do anything. If anything, they look frustrated because they can't do anything, because he ordered them not to do anything. He ordered them to not interfere. Remember, guys. Why aren't they doing anything? I just said why, poor Janice. Anybody! Use water magic to diffuse the fire. Use wind magic to blow it out. Do something, damn it. But all they do is watch. Because the fight isn't over. They were ordered to not interfere with our fight. Exactly. The fire does eventually die down, but it feels like an eternity. Oh my. Commander! Commander Wolf! Janice. Commander, are you okay? Commander coughs up blood. He slowly turns his head and gazes at me. I think you were right. Colton and Oriel Sherwood didn't deserve to die. See, I told you it was in his heart. He knew that they didn't deserve to die. He was so intent on following the king's orders, and that's exactly what I said. He just kept trying to convince himself that they were guilty. He kept having to convince himself over and over again before he executed them. You were right. Colton and Oriel Sherwood did not deserve to die. What are you talking about? Neither do these other people. Commander, heal yourself. You can use healing magic, right? Ha ha. I can't even feel my arms. How can I cast a spell? Then order your dragoons to help you. Some of them should be able to cast revive, right? Please. He smiles and slowly shakes his head. What does that smile mean? What does that head shake mean? I'm sorry, Janice. I never wanted to do what I did. You know, I still don't know whether or not I did the right thing. I never thought about what I did. I never had to, really. All I had to do was follow the king's orders. Ina can use healing magic. Ina! It's okay. I don't need healed. Huh? It's time I paid for my sins. What? What are you talking about? Have I told you about my scars? Your scars? The scars on my face. Why do I have them? Shouldn't I have just healed the wounds before they left scars? I did wonder about that. I got these scars when I fought my daughter's murderer. Oh, remember how his daughter died, and he asked him what he did to the monster that took out his wife and his daughter. And he just said it was the worst thing I've ever done, and I don't need to give you details. I got these scars when I fought my daughter's murderer. After I killed him, I didn't feel like killing myself. So the wounds healed naturally, and they left permanent scars. I'm feeling the same thing right now. No, no, you'll die if we don't heal you. He only smiles again. On the contrary, I can feel my eyes welling up. Don't cry. You found your courage, didn't you? Well, he did help her find magic she never had. Now she has courage, and it came out uncontrollably through her hand, and, well, left him in the state. I saw once, and then I wiped my tears. Girl. I decided to stop trying to convince Commander to get himself healed. I don't know why, but I think I understand his feelings. After that incident, I became a remorseless killing machine. I'd kill anybody if my superior ordered me to. It was my duty. Just like today. Commander's voice weakens, and so does the heaving of his chest. He barely even moves. You should stay away from this kind of life. Yes, I understand his feelings. He must have longed for this day. But he can never kill himself. Today he doesn't have to. Sometimes I feel the same way. But I'm not like Commander. No. What? I won't stay away. I'll carry on your duty. But I won't make the same mistakes. I'll do it the right way. But did you forget that we're partners? I'm not like you, remember? I'm the bad cop. I don't follow orders. I just do whatever I please. But you don't have to worry. Commander looks at me and smiles again. It's a brighter smile than all the ones before. It reminds me of a smile Candela made just before she died. Thank you. Thank you, Commander. And just like Candela, Commander Wolf shuts his eyes. Wow. Original story and writing. Eustace Salomon. I wish you would continue writing visual novels because this was superb. I mean, it wasn't a magical world, it was completely fictitious, but it both gripped my heartstrings. It made me tear up at the end there. I won't lie. That was hard to read. Very hard to read. Maybe one of the hardest visual novels I've read yet. I honestly wasn't expecting this visual novel to be so good. I have to say that as much as I loved An Octave Higher, this one was even better. Great work to the writers, the artists, everyone who made this visual novel a reality and come to life on Steam. I want to go and thank you for quite the experience. I'm sure other people who watch this or hear me read this or hear my voice crack there at the end, I'm sure they'll appreciate it as well. It's a visual novel, guys, that made me laugh on many occasions. It made me laugh at how adorable Janice was, or laugh at Candela's zaniness, or laugh and be in awe or amused at how Janice whooped those bullies' ass. It really made me laugh when Janice dragged Drake back by his fucking shirt collar and dragged his ass back, his balls bouncing off the rocks. That part was definitely funny. There were many parts of this visual novel that both hit my heartstrings, like when she couldn't sleep at night and she was crying at night, when she felt like nobody loved her, when she talked about how her parents had abandoned her because she was a misfit in society and couldn't use magic. What a great story. Fictitious it was, almost unbelievable it was, yes. But amazing It certainly was. Epilogue. One small fire at a time. Wow. Ooh. Let's go ahead and read the epilogue. Wow. What a great, great visual novel. We're not done yet. We got a little bit more. It's been 2 weeks since I was allowed to leave the madhouse whenever I wished, but I'm still not used to seeing tons of people bustling through the city streets. My gaze wanders as I admire the view that's no longer bounded by walls. I could go anywhere under the vast blue sky. I breathe the city air. I like to say that it smelled like freedom or something, but to be honest, the air at the madhouse is even fresher. I can see that. Yeah. Still, I'm glad that I can go out whenever I want. After the incident, I was no longer considered mad. After all, she cured her own magic deficiency disorder, yes. Well, I think Commander Wolf helped her cure that magic deficiency disorder. So now she's a normal person. Normally, inmates who regain their sanity have to leave the madhouse, but I was allowed to stay. It turns out that I was never officially an inmate at the Eclipse. I had assumed that before my parents had abandoned me, but they had paid Mr. and Miss Sherwood in advance for my stay and treatment. But it turns out I was wrong. In reality, Mr. and Miss Sherwood had been letting me stay at the madhouse completely free of charge, and never once stopped caring for me. That makes us so much sadder. That makes us so much sadder that they died, and they're actually just great people who took her on as, like, completely free of charge because they cared for her. That is so endearing. Ina, this is the place. We stop in front of a cafe at the corner of a busy intersection. It isn't very big, but it looks pretty cozy. It has a patio that opens directly to the street, so guests can show off their lunch to anybody that passes by. Huh? That's interesting. I learned something new today. They should already be waiting inside. Aren't you going in? No. I have to go back to the madhouse. He's in there, you know. Oh, what? Besides, I'll see him tonight. What'd you say? Never mind. Forget I said anything. This is gonna be Lord Godwin, right? You're going on a date? I said forget it. I only invited him to dinner to thank him for helping with the court trial and stuff. It's not like I like him or anything. Sure. That last line was delivered in the same tone as Candela's exaggerated impersonation of her the other day. A great job, Candela. Yeah, when Candela was mocking her when she was having that talk with Lord Godwin. But Ina was right. If Joff hadn't pressured the court to declare all the alienists and nurses, except for those who were directly involved with the potions incident, innocent, they might still be in prison right now. So he did a good thing as well by basically keeping everybody out of prison. Okay, whatever. I'm going in. I'll see you later, Janice. I'll see ya. And thanks for bringing me here. Huh? Ina stares at me with wide eyes. What? You said thanks. I don't think I've ever heard you say that before. Oh, whatever. Just go away. Janice actually said... I go inside the cafe. I look around. The two men and I spot each other almost at the same time. They rise from their seats, and after we exchange greetings, Poe suggests that we sit outside. When we go outside, Ina is already gone. Good old Professor Poe and Lord Godwin. Oh, how are you, little Janice? Same as usual. Ha ha ha, well, you look healthy enough, which that's good. Well, anything's better than being thrown in prison, right? Why would they throw you in prison? Because I killed the commander? That was ruled as an accident, right? You're innocent. Joff's right. As I and the other experts testified in the trial, that spell was most certainly cast by accident. Maybe, but to be honest, I still don't even understand how it even happened. Do you remember how Oriel Sherwood and I cast thunder together? It's probably like that. Your mana and Wolf's mana must have flowed together when you held his hand. Similar to how two magicians can cast certain combo magic spells together. Really? Does that normally happen? Of course not. It would be disastrous if combo magic was cast whenever people shook hands. But we don't know what exactly happened in your case, but we do believe the fire was as much Wolf's magic as it was your own. So we cast the spell together. That is correct. Well, that makes sense. There was no way I could have cast such a big fire with my own power. But how was that possible? How did a Dragoon commander cast a spell by accident? I don't know. I think he lost control of his magic at that point. Lost control of his magic? Just like Candela did. Yep, remember how Candela got super powerful there at the end of her life. And I also cast a spell by accident too, right? That's right. Did I also lose control of my magic? Well, that's an odd way to put it, considering you never had control of any magic in the first place. So yeah, basically, yes. Ha ha ha, you're right. Also like Candela. So, why'd you guys call me here? Poe throws a furtive glance at Joff, who is calmly sipping his tea. Joff puts his cup down and speaks. There's a school that wants to offer you a scholarship, Janice. Huh? Why? Well, which school? I don't recommend accepting their offer. Which school? Overture Police Academy. Oh, the same one that Aiden went to. You see, little Janice, that school isn't like other magic schools. If you go to a conservatoire like the one where I teach, for example, you'll learn a magical science. Stuff like how magic works and how it can be used to improve people's lives. But the Overture Police Academy, they train their students to be police officers. So while they do teach general subjects, there is greater emphasis on magic combat. Magic combat, huh? Why do they want me? You beat a Dragoon commander. What other reason do they need? True. I didn't really beat him. You survived and he didn't. That fits the definition of beat him. Well, yeah, but didn't you notice something weird with the commander when we fought? He seemed to be uncomfortable fighting you, didn't he? Right? So you noticed it too. I think I reminded him of his daughter. So to him, hurting me was like hurting his own daughter. But I think it wasn't just that. It was like he was in pain. I don't think it was pain. Not a physical pain, anyway. Then what? Probably something like a panic attack. He might have been traumatized by his daughter's death, and seeing you in a similar situation reminded him of that trauma, and that distressed him. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Are you saying he was insane? Yes, you could say that. I see, so Commander was mad too. Just like Candela. Candela, Commander, and I, all three of us experienced loss of control of our own magic. By the way, going back to the scholarship offer, But you accepted you'll be expected to leave the madhouse because the Overture Police Academy is a boarding school. And? Wouldn't that be a problem? No. Besides, I've been freeloading at the Eclipse long enough. Huh. You're not too attached to that place? No, why? Nothing. I was just reminded of Colton Sherwood. I think that man was afraid to leave the madhouse. Huh? Do you remember when that boy escaped? You mean Drake? Yes, wasn't Colton really anxious about that? He was so afraid that something would happen to the boy. He believed that people outside the Eclipse were dangerous. Yet he didn't try to look for him himself. Couldn't that be because he was too scared to leave the madhouse? Oh. And when I took him to my factory, he looked uneasy the entire time. He kept an eye on everyone around him. He watched their every move. I wondered why he was doing that, but I think I understand now. He was actually afraid of people. He was afraid of people? Like Drake, you mean? No, not like Drake. Drake has social phobia. He's afraid of social situations, but not of people. Deep down, he knows that most people aren't dangerous, but he just can't bring himself to interact with them. What Colton had was paranoia. He was the exact opposite of Drake. He didn't have trouble interacting with people, but he had this irrational fear that the world outside the Eclipse was hostile. Which is exactly why he wanted to turn the Eclipse into an isolated madtown. Yes, ultimately his desire to build a madtown was self-serving. It was to make himself feel safe. He probably didn't realize that, but he had convinced himself that it was for the good of all lunatics. How ironic. The madhouse owner himself had a mental illness. Wow. Yep. A mental illness? Huh? What? Oh, I mean, madness, lunacy. Why did it must be because of my assistant. For some reason, she always refers to them as mental illnesses or mental disorders. Huh. Ha ha ha. Who cares what they're called? Ha ha ha, maybe you're right. By the way, you're laughing. So? Ha ha ha, never mind. Laughing is good for you, Janice. We stopped speaking. I watched people on the street as I drank my tea. Some of them rush from intersection to intersection, while others simply walk at a leisurely pace, looking nowhere but forward. Some stop and chat with their friends. Normal people doing normal things. Or so it seems. That's what it looks like on the outside, at least. For all we know, all these normal people could be battling demons inside their own heads. And we don't know if they'll really ever win against those inner demons, or eventually crumble in defeat. Normal people doing normal things. So, how is the madhouse now that the owners are gone? For a while, our fate was uncertain. With Mr. and Miss Sherwood dead, the madhouse was going to be closed down and everybody would be moved to other madhouses. But I guess the alienists and nurses volunteered to run the madhouse for now, so it won't be closed down after all. There was a small problem though. Without Miss Sherwood's mana potions, they had to buy potions the legal way, but they couldn't afford them. And everybody had to live without magic for a while. But it's okay now. I don't know what happened, but apparently they got the money somehow, because we've all started getting potions again. So life's pretty much back to normal. Oh, I happen to know the answer. The Eclipse received an anonymous donation recently. Interestingly, Poe glances at Job with a smirk. I heard a rumor that the owner of Magical Mechanical recently withdrew a large sum of cash from his own company. I wonder why he'd do that. Aww. Oh. Ha 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 ha. Jaw pretends to ignore Poe's laughter, hiding his mouth by taking another sip from his cup of tea. He only speaks after he sets the cup down. It's good that the madhouse can continue to operate, but they can't rely on donations. It would be nice if institutions like the Eclipse could buy mana potions without having to pay the taxes that makes them so damn expensive. Poe leans back and looks up, thinking. Yes, I agree. What do you think, Wolf? Wolf? Oh, I'm sorry. Force a habit. After we started working on the investigation together, it was inevitable that whenever I was with Joff, I was also with Wolf. Oh. Wolf. I like the sound of that. Well, thanks. That's fine. You can call me Wolf if you want. What? I'll be Janice Wolf from now on. You can't just take someone's name like that. Well, Wolf now says, instead of Janice, it says Wolf. Well, Commander told me he was the last wolf. Nobody will complain if I take his name. I like that. Poe says, that's not wrong, but... Well, I don't think Wolf would mind, honestly. Maybe it was just because of his past, but in a way, he did think of Janice as his own daughter. Yeah, and even though we never really spent much time together, I do think of Commander as something like a father. I see. Then there's no problem. But I still plan to keep calling you little Janice. Ha ha ha. Yeah, whatever, Poe. I like that. Ha 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 ha. Huh. Anyway, about the scholarship offer. Are they sure they want me there? I only learned to use magic recently. Does it still only happen by accident, or can you cast spells reliably now? I can cast fire anytime I want. Watch. Summon courage. Oh! It's just a small fire, though. One small fire at a time. Now we know why this visual novel is called One Small Fire at a Time. It's just a small fire, though. Well, that's a start. I wonder if I'll ever be able to cast that big fire again. Let's just keep practicing. If you cast that small fire every day, eventually it will get bigger and bigger. I see. Then I'll do exactly that. Oh, I can already sense magical aura now. Oh, really? Try to sense my aura then. I can feel Poe's magical aura getting thicker as he gathers his power. I can also easily tell the kind of magic he's preparing based on his aura, because different magical traits produce different magical auras. Wow. Oh, you're really intelligent, aren't you? Is it really that surprising? No. I don't know why you had to mull it over before saying no, but okay. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. Poe releases his magic power. I'll accept the scholarship offer. I knew you would. I'd still rather you didn't, but I won't stop you. I mean, you were mad enough to challenge a Dragoon commander to a fight, weren't you? Yep. By the way, how long do you plan to keep your finger burning like that? Oh, actually, I have a problem. Oh, what's that? I can't make my fire vanish. Oh no! Huh? So what do you usually do? I blow it out. Oh, like blowing out a candle? Yeah, that's funny. Oh, then why don't you make a wish, you know? Like when you blow out candles on a birthday cake. A wish, huh? I watch the flame flicker on my fingertip. Right. I didn't make a wish on my own birthday this year because I let Candela do it. Or did Candela make a wish on my behalf, thereby making it my wish? Well, it doesn't really matter. I close my eyes. And then I blow out the finger candle. Did you make your wish? No. Why not? I made a promise instead. A promise? To whom? To myself. And what did you promise yourself? That I will become a Dragoon Commander one day. Ha 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 ha! One small fire at a time, little Janice. One small fire at a time. Well, there we go. One small fire at a time, young Janice. Janice Wolf. And the birthday picture. Well done. Keep playing words. There we go. Well, we reached the finale. We reached the final conclusion of One Small Fire at a Time. And I have to say, this is definitely one of the best visual novels that I've read. I've been fortunate, guys. I've read a lot of really good ones over on my YouTube channel. Panzer Hearts was amazing. I've read some really good ones over the years, and this again is just yet another amazing visual novel. An Octave Higher was really good. There are some really good visual novels that I've been fortunate to pick out and have the luxury of reading to you guys, my viewers. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. One Small Fire at a Time is definitely getting a positive review from me. And I believe, guys, when we look at One Small Fire at a Time, yep, we see it right here, guys. 48 reviews. I mean, it came out way back in 2016. Doesn't have a whole lot of reviews. But the people who have played it and reviewed it and purchased it have left this game 100% positive reviews. And just the other day, it was a 48. A 49th review has come in, and you see that it's not yet my review. So somebody recently gave this game a positive review. And my review, guys, will be review number 50. How fitting. And it will still be 100% for sure. I mean, how could you give this visual novel after reading it all the way through? How could you possibly not give this game a positive review? It is on Steam, guys, if you guys want to ever play it yourself. Addie, let's bring Addie in here, guys. Let's bring Addie, good old Addie in. Addie, come in and talk to us.
Hello.
Hey, girl, how did you like that visual novel? I know you've had the luxury of listening to all of them, mostly when you were at work after I'd read them late at night.
I really enjoyed it. The time goes by so fast.
That's one sign that you're really enjoying something when time goes by super quick, huh?
Right, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, this is it for now.
Yeah, I know she left me a message this morning. She was like, oh my god, you need to read the end of it already. Jesus, I want to hear the end. Well, now you've heard the end. Well, from the visual novels you've heard me read and stuff like that, I know you've liked a few of them. What would you give this visual novel on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would give it, honestly, not exaggerating, I would give it a 12.
A 12? Oh my god. I was going to say like a 9, 9.5, but a 12, huh? Oh my.
Well, because I really liked it. I liked it, I mean, from my perspective of it, it had, like I just wrote, it had all the emotions, and
it did, yeah.
It kept me, keeps you going, and there's multiple characters, and each character had their own unique purpose in the story. And sometimes it's just like, meh, like, why?
Right.
Just like shows when you watch, when they focus on a certain person, you're like, man, I don't really like that person. But there's not one person in this story that I didn't like.
Yeah, that you didn't like or kind of understand or relate to in some way.
Right.
Or whatever. Yeah, it made it challenging to read and try to put in a personality behind every voice or whatever. And I kind of, like, even Professor Poe's voice, I kind of took the same voice I remember years ago given Professor Poe when he was much older and an octave higher. So I kind of just used the same kind of, like, older voice. But I think it worked out well for him. And obviously I can't sound like a young little girl or a woman or whatever. But I always do try to differentiate my voice a little bit for every character, kind of like I gave Aiden Wolf a deeper voice, that kind of thing. I kind of, sucked it in and tried to do what I do. Like, like when I was dating somebody and and I'd answer the phone, and a guy would be calling asking for a girl I was dating or whatever. And you know, you don't want to, you gotta go, yeah, who's this? And then he's like, yeah, is Lucy there? And I'm like, oh, I don't know, Lucy. You both try to make deeper and deeper voices or whatever. But yeah. No, I thought the art was fantastic as well. The music was always fitting, and served its purpose. But the writing was just extraordinary. I thought the writing was very well done and definitely made it easy to relate to all the people. And I think all of us at some time, I think we all know how, I think we've all been in some situation where we feel like crying. Maybe it comes with the loss of one of our parents or the loss of Aunt Bertha or whoever, right? We've all been in a situation at some point in our life when we're like, God damn it, I need to cry. Why can't I cry? I should be crying. My grandma just died or whatever, right? And you're sitting there trying to cry. You know you need to cry, but you can't. I think we've all been there, as Janice was in this visual novel. You're trying so hard. I know we've all been there when we just want to go to sleep, but we can't go to sleep, and we wind up staring at the ceiling, lost in thought, or lost in loneliness, or lost in whatever emotions are keeping us from sleeping. So there's so many emotions that, especially with Janice, that I think each and every one of us can relate to. I think we've all known someone in our lives kind of like Candela. You know, Candela was kind of a, you know, she kind of reminds me of that, not kind of like that ditzy, you know, kind of like that ditzy little girl, but there's so much fun. You know, they have a heart of gold or whatever, and I think that kind of fits Candela. But, you know, every character was just really relatable, I thought, in this visual novel. And it was really kind of easy to understand why they were talking the way they did, or saying what they said, or feeling the way they felt. I mean, especially with like Aiden Wolf, like him losing his daughter and stuff like that. Like, it's very easy to understand how he could connect with Janice after losing his 4-year-old daughter, or feeling sadness when we heard him tell the story about how he lost his wife and his young daughter, that kind of thing. So, yeah. It was just an exceptional story. I thought the writing was really well done. The music and the art were also really well done. And it's sad, but these writers have not made another visual novel in like the last 5 or 6 years. So they really haven't done a whole lot since this. And I would love to support them. I would love to see them write another visual novel at some point. You know, I don't know if they didn't make money on this, if they ended up losing money on their visual novels or what, but sadly, they haven't done anything else. But I would definitely love to read more from them, for sure. And I'm sure other people that have read this, that gave the game the positive reviews, 100% positive reviews, I'm sure people that have read An Octave Higher and One Small Fire at a Time would love to read more. Now, they do have one other visual novel. Legend of Everything is the only other visual novel they have. As you see, I have not ever played it. It's not along the same lines, but we may have to read this one at some point here soon. It only has one user review, and it's a purchase review, and it looks like it's getting nothing but positive reviews. Only four reviews, 3 of them are Steam keys, but this one is about a mind-bending isekai otherworld science adventure. On a quest to rescue the princess from the demon lord, Brain encounters an eccentric young woman claiming to be from another world. One with RPGs and video games, epic battles, lovable heroines, and a real scientific theory. So this one came out 3 or 4 years later, after An Octave Higher and after the one we just read. So we may have to read this one and give it a shot. It doesn't look like too many people have given this game a chance. And this visual novel right here might be the reason they tied it up and shut it down and said, okay, no more. They probably lost money on this one with only one purchase review. And that's kind of sad. Yeah. So we may have to give this one a shot here in the future. Andy, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Well, I want to go ahead and say thank you for being here, guys. And if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to let me know what your comments are, what your thoughts are after listening to me read the entire visual novel of One Small Fire at a Time. I thought it was amazing. If you're watching a movie or reading a book or whatever, And that movie or the book or whatever it is makes you both laugh, makes you feel empathy, makes you feel excitement because a battle's about to happen. And then it can also bring tears to your eyes, as this one did for me. I think it's done its job very well. And One Small Fire at a Time definitely had me on that emotional roller coaster throughout the entire reading of it. And I enjoyed it very much. So I hope you guys did as well. I know Addie did. She just gave it a 12 out of 10 when I told her to give it a rating. And there we go, guys. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure and comment down below over my YouTube channel. We'll see you soon. Peace, everybody. Take care.